Japanese, and we're in Georgia.
Oh, that's why. All right. Got it. Okay.
So that's why it's called MomoCon.
Gotcha. I love it.
All right, and you pick your outlet for your.
Hi, Mark from Blurography. My question to you is this: MomoCon celebrating 20 years, and you are a new staple here at the con for the last few years. I want to know what is your favorite memory about MomoCon?
Oh, my favorite memory of MomoCon is this. The first year I came, which was 2023, I think, I'm sitting there at my table with my books, and kids, younger kids, keep coming up, and they're asking me, because my logo is the Run DMC logo without running, which means they don't make comics. So the kids are coming up, about 30 of them all day. What is that? I know that from somewhere. So I don't say nothing. So, oh, no, it's the guy that's making a comic. They go away. So this goes on from like 11 to like 1:30. About 2:30, all 30 of them come back mad at me. Why didn't you tell me you was who you are? This and that, this and that. And then they all get on the phone and call their parents. They go, Mom, guess who's here? This and that. I speak to all the parents. But now the kids is open. Oh, you got a comic book? I love your song Tricky. I love Adidas, this and that. So that was the greatest memory because there is no such thing as a generation gap. It's a communication, conversation, and participation gap. But if we all participate, if we communicate, and we celebrate the things that we love, we will find whether young and old, black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian, Muslim, Christian, we have more in common than we have different.
Matt Jenkins from the Modern Newly Podcast Network.
Yep.
Being the staple in the hip hop community that you are, and now the staple in the comic industry that you're becoming,
right.
Do you ever find yourself looking back on any of your past music, or even maybe current music projects that you're working on now, and see any story that would translate to any of your comic book?
I just gave away my whole secret. My whole secret to my success in the music business through hip hop culture. Run thought I was writing dope rhymes, and I was. But my whole career on stage was me pretending to be the most powerful entity in the hip hop universe. It was comic books that gave me the courage and confidence to get on stage. When I first got into hip hop, I never wanted to be in the show business. I just liked writing rhymes. But before hip hop came over the bridge in the Queens in, I would say like 76 for me, before late 60s rock and roll radio and 7-inch radio, all I did as a kid since kindergarten was read, collect, draw. Read, collect, draw. Read, collect, draw. I think my first comic book was a Batman comic in kindergarten. I couldn't even read, but when I saw the cover, I was like, what is that? Whatever that is, that's me. So from first grade to 8th grade, the reason why I was a straight A student was not to be smart. I wanted to know what the hell they were talking about in the comic books. So I'm just read, collect, draw, read, collect, draw, read, collect, draw. Now this thing called hip hop comes over the bridge. And the first thing with hip hop was, remember the graffiti. And it was like the colorful comic books had jumped off the pages and plastered the trains and the walls in New York City. And if you look back at all the early graffiti, there was always a Spider-Man hanging upside down, a Thor in there, a Flash, a Superman. So it was always connected. But that being said, the Easter eggs for DMC was always there. What do you mean, DMC? 1985, the King of Rock song. Crash through walls, come through floors, bust through ceilings, and knock down doors. Rappers don't do that. I was talking about superheroes. Run goes, I'm DJ Run, I can scratch. I don't go, I'm DMC, I can rap. I go, I'm DMC, I could draw. So once for the past 9 years, every year now, everybody at the comic books, the Comic Con. So there was always something about Judy that I felt that I liked. But now seeing me here celebrating comic books, now when they go back and listen to the records, oh, it was right in front of my face. Like what MF Doom was doing, what Method Man and Ghostface was doing. I've been doing. I was never ashamed of my geekiness. It actually is what gave me the power. So I met Stan Lee 3 times. I said, Stan Lee, you created a monster, and DMC popped out. And it was all because of comic books. Right on.
So my question is, you were mentioning years, Mind You is such a iconic song. It really is paved the way for brand deals and also.
It's the reason why keep it real. It's the reason why everything is happening.
Absolutely. So my question is, how do you feel being not only responsible but having such a legacy in Black culture as a Black secret culture?
Right. It's all a part of responsibility. Now, what we did has now become a big business. Even from the record making standpoint. But everybody that is successful off our artistic creativity, the majority of the people, they lack that responsibility. And what I mean is, now don't get me wrong, it's cool to get the money for what you created. But with or without the money, we were wealthy. With or without the money, we were bringing people together. With or without the money, we were changing the cultures in our community. So for Run DMC, there was a responsibility. Like, I went to Catholic school my whole life. So every school that I went to, my mother and father paid for me to go there. I was a straight A student. I had both parents in my house. My father, he had the poor man's Cadillac. You couldn't get the Fleetwood or the Eldorado or the Bro 25. So I'm living in Queens, lower suburban middle class neighborhood. And in the Bronx was burning. The Bronx was on fire. It was death, darkness, and destruction in the Bronx and Harlem. Like, you go to Harlem now, it's been a renaissance. But back in the day, Harlem was Harlem. You know what I'm saying? But these boys and girls were using art, creativity, dance, music, literature, and poetry to make the world better. And that impacted me. Like, I had it good. But when I saw what they were lacking, I was like, so why are they talking about division and it could be better? And when you saw the sneakers, the fresh Adidas and the Pumas, when you saw the track suits, and when you saw the Kangol and the Gazelle, when you saw all that flavor and all of that color, like before, Run DMC and the rappers, our superheroes was the breakdancers. You know what I'm saying? They wore costumes, the Adidas suits, colorful red, green. They were like the real superheroes. And on top of that, they were performing the superhero moves. So when Run DMC, our role in all of this, people say, if you look up, well, you got the internet now, but if back in the day, or even now, if you go Google or Wikipedia, if you look up hip hop, or for my generation, if you go to the dictionary and encyclopedia and you look up the definition of hip hop, you won't see the word description. You see a picture of me running J. And what that is, from the guys, the people created to everybody now, we represent the spirit. You know what I'm saying? We represent the authenticity. We represent the style. We represent the dopeness. We represent the power without any negativity. So for us, hearing, the message came out. It was like broken glass everywhere. It's like a jungle sometimes. The message is a mental health threat. It was a call for I need help. Somebody save me. In Africa, man, Bada and Soul Forces and Rock saying, all right, we in death, darkness, and destruction. When we, all of us there, and create a place where everybody's eating. We ain't killing each other. Instead, we're going to create that kind of. So when me and Ronnie J saw that, we knew we had a responsibility because we were the ones that crashed through the walls, came to the floor. Now we can now. But what are we going to do now? So even while we were Run DMC before Raising Hell, we was doing the Fresh Fest. Run DMC and Fat Boy, Jermaine Dupri. Shout out to Jermaine Dupri, who's brother. He was a dancer. He learned to be a producer and DJ just by being around Jay. So it was everybody. To answer your question, it was all about the responsibility. But the beauty of that, it was the art and creativity coming from a group of people thought had nothing, but we had everything inside of us. And the thing that was the catalyst to that, as I said here before you, all of us, even the elders and the babies that's coming out now, all of us are products of pop culture. As I said here before you, I'm not just hip hop and rock and roll and Peters. I'm the Flintstones and the Jetsons. I'm the Monsters and the Addams Family. I'm Star Trek, Space 1999, and Lost in Space. I'm Woody Woodpecker and Bugs Bunny. So I'm a combination of all of it. And it was through our art and our creativity that is the best way to communicate, because it's the arts that succeed where politics and religion fails. I don't care who you are, religion fails us continuously since the creation of the world, and politics fails us. But the only thing that brings us together, black, white, Puerto Rican, young, old, it don't matter, it's art, comic books, and music, and museums, and you see how big these food festivals are? That's where our success lies. So when me and Runner J saw that, we say, yo, we got a responsibility to keep the reason why hip hop was created alive. All right, I'm gonna work this side and I'm gonna go over there. You had your hand, I'm gonna do yours.
So it's typical for people in Black men to speak about mental health, but you talk about mental health.
Yes, because I'm not ashamed of it.
So what gives you the freedom to be so open about it?
Two things. The first thing is my greatest ride, which is an DMC, the place to be able to St. John's University. That's a good one. My greatest rhymes is, unless you admit how you feel, whether good or bad, you never heal. Now, what that means is, first, stigma exists because people are ashamed. So the second one is, if you remove guilt and shame, you remove the pain. Not the pain of what you're going through, the pain of the ability to deal with what you're going through. I was an alcoholic, suicidal, metaphysical, spiritual wreck who was thinking of killing himself. Then at the age of 35, I found out that I was adopted and a foster kid. And then Jam Master Jay gets shot and killed, and my father Byford died. So imagine what I was going through. But before that, I was an alcoholic, suicidal, metaphysical. I was drinking to when I went to therapy and I got out, I was diagnosed with suppressed emotions. So what that meant was I was ashamed of what was going on. So that shame pushed me further and further down into the dark cataclysm of depression. Unless you admit how you feel, whether good or bad, you never hear. I realized something. People love me when I'm telling you how great and powerful I am. I'm the king of rocks. It's oh, we love you. And in this world, we love the person that says, I feel like I could take on the world today. I feel like I could battle a lion, yay. But as soon as you say, I'm depressed, get away from me, weirdo. Or, I got anorexia, get away from me. But think about it like this. There's nothing wrong with somebody telling you they feel like committing suicide. And I remember I said this in this big health convention, and none of the doctors said I was wrong, but a couple of people who held on and said, how could you say that? They said, no, there's nothing wrong with me. I want you to tell me you feel like committing suicide. Why? If you come to me and say, D, it's 80 degrees in here, I feel hot. Oh, it's morning. I'm turning the AC on for you. You do something for the person. I can't tell you if it's below zero outside. Go stand outside. And you can't not say you don't feel cold because you feel cold. What I'm saying about this, when a person says, I feel like committing suicide, there's a reason. There's a person, place, or thing that's making them feel that way. If you come to me and say, I got a toothache, what I'm going to tell you? When I was in second grade, I still wear glasses. I got contacts on right now. But when I was in second grade, my teacher, Miss Peterson, noticed something was wrong with Daniels. So I remember that day I'm standing there, I'm just 2 years, my mother comes to pick me up without hesitation. Miss Peterson says, Miss McDaniels, I think Daryl needs glasses because I noticed him squinting. So we all go through life every day with the young people and even older people. You could work with people in your office. How you doing today? And they go, I'm okay. But they're not. So a lot of people are afraid to admit that they're going through something. So me, this hip hop thing had a big purpose in my life. Everybody loved me when I'm telling them DMC, son of Biker, brother of Al, Banner's my mother, runs my pal. It's McDaniels, not McDonald's. These Robs are Daryl's, those burgers are around them. I ran down my family tree, my mother, my father, my brother, and me. When I got out of rehab, I come out into the world. Now remember, my partner Run had 10 seasons of a successful reality show, Run's House. Beautiful his resume now. From episode 1, season 1, everybody's waiting for the last episode, the finale, because they know DMC gonna show up. DMC don't show up. Okay, we wait. Season 2, no DMC. So by season 3, the stigma or the perception is, oh, DMC and Run ain't together, this and that. They fighting over money, this and that. No, none of that is true. The reason why I'm running D ain't together because Jay's there. Now here's a good joke. We will get back together. I ask people this. Run and DMC will get back together when the Beatles get back together. Did that happen? They go, no. But I get out of rehab, and the first thing people do is run up to me. DMC, what? Mad at me. Why wasn't you on Run's House? Which is a great question. Hip hop is about keeping it real. Well, I was an alcoholic, suicidal, metaphysical, spiritual wreck who just found out that I was adopted and I was a foster kid. Jay died my father. And I tell them that. That's my truth. I'm not ashamed of that. Vulnerable. I'm weak. I'm fucked up. I'm not the mighty king of rock that you thought about. But it's so powerful that I speak the truth. And 100% of the time when I do that, when I reveal my works to a person, they do this. They look around. They check for bugs like the CIA is around. And they look me in my eye. 2 things happen. They go, and they say these words to me and it hurts. I've never told anyone this, dude. Me too. So imagine hearing it. And they're only telling me this because DMC, the mighty, admitted it to them. So that means you've been walking your whole life, your family, everywhere you go, and you wouldn't tell nobody that because you think about how they're going to think about you. But here's the worst one. I do the same thing. That person looks around, and then it's not done. They go, my mother, my father, my sister, my daughter. So that means I'm working with you every day, and I'm afraid to tell you my daughter's on meth because I'm worried about what you're going to think about me. But I started revealing it to people, and everybody I revealed that truth to, they all went and got help. Because now it's cool to go get help. And here's the mind-blowing thing. Everybody looks at the superpower of the superheroes and stuff like that, not realizing that all of it, a little kid told me that, the aliens too, all the superheroes are traumatized. They all come from traumatic. Look, I realize I do this King of Rock DMC thing, which made the world happy and this and that. And then my mother and father sits me down and says, son, there's something we got to tell you. You was a month old when we brought you home and you're adopted. Made me immediately think of Superman. Clark, come here and sit down. We love you, Clark, but there's something that we got to tell you. You're not really from this earth and this set, but you have a good grip. How could what the comic books that I was attracted to, how could I grow up and find out I got the same thing? Well, that's why I was attracted to him in the first place. So think about Superman. He got it worse than all of us. He saw his whole fucking universe destroyed. but it was somebody he was sent to where he was put here, but there was people that helped him get where he's supposed to go. So I don't care what anybody's going through. It may not be, the therapist might not even help you, but there's somebody to help get you where you're supposed to go. Batman is really effed up. He saw his mother and father murdered in front of him. Think about that. Spider-Man, Peter from Queens, I'm from Queens. He lost his parent, had to be raised by Aunt May. So when I saw that, and what people got to realize is revealing your weakness and your vulnerability. I'm afraid. I tell little kids when I go to speak to little kids about mental health. I've been in the music business, and this is true, for 40 years. And I still get scared before I go on stage. So when a kid hears that, it's goodness, he's the they don't know Run DMC. They know that it's Tricky TikTok man. Okay, here's the grown, powerful man that these kids never seen their teacher bug out when I walk in the room. Why is Miss McGully? So then they found out I made the Tricky song and Sonic the Hedgehog. Now I'm connected. But when DMC says I still get scared, I let them know it's all right to be scared. So we got to remove guilt and shame. And then you remove the pain of going through what it is. And unless you admit how you feel, whether good or bad, don't be afraid to say, I'm feeling bad today. I'm messed up. I'm suicidal. I'm anorexic. Because as soon as you speak that, whatever it is that you need comes to you. Yes, I'm the king of rock. Yes, I did my Adidas. Yes, I'm the reason why hip hop, one of the reasons why when me running J, hip hop is doing everything. But my greatest accomplishment on this earth is being living, breathing proof you could beat and defeat whatever it is that you're going through. Oh, let me take and I'm coming over. I just got in the cookie game. I like doing things to make people happy. Yeah.
And also the market and everything. And I want to ask, the rise of AI and the rise of anti-racialism, there's real need to tell some strong stories from real people for real people. And what do you hope that your stories and music say or continue to say?
Right. I got this song called that I just wrote about. I've been working on it for like a month now. Even when there's nothing, there is something to use. Even when there's nothing, there's something you can always do. So my story is this. Technology is cool. It's cool, but it's an assistant. We created this hip hop. Now, hip hop didn't create anything. It recreated everything because we just utilized what was out. We had no money and no resources. So when you're in that state, you think your existence is over. But then you start thinking, what is around? All of this stuff is around me. Again, in this age of AI and technology, we got to recreate the authentic, artistic. AI only, if all of us shut up right now, AI is done because it only feeds off of the known knowledge. If we was to all shut up, my friend was, for my cookie thing, he chat GPT. How could DMC advance its cookie thing? So ChatGPT just took what was available, what the world had for it to know. But the bad thing about AI, I don't know what I'm thinking in the next 5 minutes. Once I do it, it can go into that information. So we got to go back to the point where, how do we relate to each other? Like I said, the generation gap, there's no such thing as a generation gap. It's conversation community. We really wouldn't need AI, ChatGPT if we just chatted more ourselves. See, the reason why I'm so powerful, and the young people don't understand this, Grand Pooba said this rhyme. He said, nowadays the old heads are afraid of the youth. Remove a tree from the roots and you kill all the fruits. Oh. But the reason why I'm so powerful, when I was little, when we were, the typical rapper was 9 to 21 years old. We were young. And when the elders spoke, and we took that and communicated it to our people. So if I'm 15, rapping what I know at my level, but also what the elders know, 14 and younger is now getting that knowledge. See, we were highly advanced individuals because we communicated. And the elders, even the bad elders, if they saw you had potential to be great in knowledge and change your position, if hip hop today is come smoke, come kill, come have sex, come take the woolly and all the drugs. But back in the day, the gangsters, they saw, if the gangsters saw you could draw some motherfucking comic books, you're sure to get off here. You don't need to be on this corner. They valued those things that is considered geeky and nerdy. Hip hop valued the things that was geeky. We're going to dance, we're going to sing, we're going to do music. And in order to understand what's going on, we finally realized, okay, the educational system don't serve us the way that we need to be served. Like you said, they don't tell us the stories of our people, but go learn how to read and write so we can create our own. So what I'm saying, we got to tell our own stories. We don't, the AI can't tell your story better than you. We can do, all of us as human beings, you start telling your story, somebody's gonna say, yo, turn that equipment off. We don't need electricity. We don't need programming. Because why? We are living, breathing experience. So what I'm trying to say is technology is an assistant. But even talk to the DJ. The only thing that's beautiful about the digital technology for a DJ is I can have all the records that's in my basement right here and just load in a hard drive. But it's still not better than turning this shit on, going down in my basement and touching and feeling and holding the vinyl and looking and reading the lineup and learning that John Lennon wasn't just with one of the greatest groups called the Beatles. He slept in a bed naked to protest the war. Marvin Gaye wasn't just a sexy soul singer. He told the story of what his people were going through by making a record called What's Going On. See, our stories force all of us to better ourselves. So we got to use technology to spread the story. Once it's spread it, we got to show up in person. There was a guy telling me when it first started, the Avatar thing, oh, here's a way, come to my shop and I can film you and you don't have to go to Kentucky and you don't have to, I can put you in the, I said, oh, whoa. I said, I don't know if it's because I was able to tell, like when you look at Hollywood, I don't need the movies on the screen. Something I can hold and feel in my hand. So I was just telling this guy, wait, no, I want to go Kentucky. I said, my avatar should just be an appetizer. DMC does this, but I want to go in person and see those people. So we got to use, like hip hop did, we use what's available to tell our stories. In the beginning, they said it wasn't no music. That's a lie. Hip hop was music. We were just sampling, or let me say it like this. We were stealing other people's music that was already made to tell our stories over. You know what I'm saying? So what I wanted to say about AI is this, it's definitely good and all of that. But the only thing bad about it to me is this. He was telling me, here's how you increase your cookies. Do the social media thing, all the stuff that you need to do now. But then a ChatGPT said, because ChatGPT just said DMC rapper. So even ChatGPT, tried to put me in a category. And it said DMC's hip hop. It said my audience was 25 to 45. It gave me Little Baby's audience and Drake's audience and stuff like that. And I had to tell the guy, that shit overlooked so much. And it was like, what do you mean, dude? I said, what about all the people that are Aerosmith fans? I'm 60. So those motherfuckers is 50 and older. They want my cookies more than the hip hoppers want it. And then here's the other thing. ChatGPT doesn't know for the past 10 years I've been going to elementary and middle schools and speaking to the kids. So those kids who know me as DMC the TikTok man or DMC the man from White Chicks, ChatGPT didn't see those are my people too. So I defeat that by showing up and participating and conversating with him. So now this kid respects me the same way his mother does, but only just because he heard my song in Sonic the Hedgehog. I use music and the distribution of, but I showed up. So now that kid is like, if Mr. D can tell his story, I shouldn't be ashamed to tell mine.
Joy with a lot of your podcasts. Can you talk to us a little bit about the Felix organization?
Yes. The Felix organization was started after I got out of after I got out of rehab, I started it. But before I went into rehab, when I first found out that I was adopted, I felt all alone. I felt like, and we all go through this, no matter what you're going for, you feel like you're the only alcoholic, the only anorexic, the only method. So when I first found out I'm adopted, I'm DMC, I'm the only one on the first day. Then I found out I was a foster kid. I'm the only one there. Fortunately, a friend of mine said, D, I heard what you're going through. And this would help me. They wasn't adopted or foster kids, but they did this. Because I was talking about it, like I said to you. Somebody who had nothing to do with my situation was actually a valuable help to me. D, I heard about you just down on job. I can't possibly understand what you're going through, but maybe there's something to help you. I know somebody that you meet. They just introduced me to another adopted person. So when I sat there with this other adopted person who had a similar story like mine, I didn't feel alone anymore. So us two sat there and said, think about the billions of other people and kids that are just like, we need to do something. So out of our unfortunate, traumatic situation, we need to do something. We ain't know what the hell to do. So we said, what about all the kids that might not get adopted? So we said, we originally wanted to start the Felix facilities. Put Felix facilities in every state in the United States for young foster kids from when they're babies up until when they age out. Because the aging out is a whole nother level of life skills, this and that. So we said, we're going to build the Felix facilities and we're going to create more DMCs and more casting directors and more journalists and more cameras, this and that. So we took the idea to all our friends. One of our friends was, rest in peace, a man named Michael Lang, who created Woodstock. So Sheila was a friend. If he could put Woodstock on and make history, he's going to help us do the Felix. So we go to Michael and he goes, it's a great idea, but you need to start smaller. So he said, why don't you just start with a sleepaway camp? Oh, we didn't think about that. He said, no, that's all right. Do create a camp where the kids can go see other kids like them with the label foster, but it's just a title of your situation. It's not you. But while they're there, we do this at the camp. What do you want to be? I want to be a DJ. So for the whole week, Jam Master Jason will come and give you DJ. I want to be a dancer. The New York City of Dance will come the whole week and give you dance lessons. I want to be a photographer, professional photographer. So whatever it is, it came out of need for this, to tell the young people, just like me. My mother and father, I was a foster kid first, but they decided to adopt me. And my brother, who is my mother and father's biological son, said this what happened. They were always bringing foster kids in, and the foster kids to get the kids back with their family. But sometimes that don't happen. So all the other kids that my mother and father were foster kids were reunited with their families. Nobody came back to get me. So my brother said, my mother and father standing up, 5 years old, playing with my G.I. Joes and comic books. And my brother says, my mother goes, just like this, Byford. And it's funny, like I'm a pet. What are we going to do with this one? And my father said, you know what? I think we will adopt this one because you never know. You might grow up and do something good in the world. So we created the Felix organization to give kids the opportunity to be the people they were put here to be, regardless of what they're going through. And we started, next year is our 20th anniversary. You, and then you.
Oh, sir.
Yes.
Carnell from Carnell Howard Pictures. I'm curious where your head's at as far as who you think should play both in animation and live action DMC.
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Which that's my son back there. He's like, okay, yeah. He's like, me. Yeah. Wow, that's a great question. To play the live action and in the animation, I'm currently working with Chase Conley on something, which is a huge blessing. Oh, the live action of it. depending on the age thing, if I had to pick somebody, everybody said it should be Chance the Rapper. Because he looks like me. And he had redone the Christmas in Hollis video for Saturday Night Live about maybe 10 years ago. And he called me to play his father because he said, D, everywhere I go, people say I look like you and stuff like that. But with Curly working on an animated, we want to do animation first.
Yeah.
Books, animation, and then live action.
Maybe so you met many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with your comic, who is your favorite superhero?
In my comic?
No, just
in general, I can easily answer that. My whole career, in addition to just pretending to be the most powerful entity in the hip hop universe, and what's crazy about that, it happened. I'm this geeky little girl. I don't want to be the king of rock. I want to be the king of rock when I walk the world now. Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj, yo, what's up, king? And then I laughed to myself and said, I was just playing, but was I? Pretend. Pre means before. I was preparing myself for what I really was. I thought I was just joking. Imagination, make believe. Make believe it's real. Make the world believe it's real. He called me the king of rock. I was in a room with Chris Cornell, rest in peace. John Fogerty. Who else was there? Tom Morello, Chuck D. Who else was there in the room? Tom Petty. And I walk in the room, and these rock stars, yo, what's up, king of rock? And they serious. So to answer your question, my whole career, it wasn't a hip hop thing where you shout out your neighborhood and rep your neighborhood. I was shouting out Queens because I couldn't believe Peter Parker comes from Queens like me. Peter Parker from Queens, so Spider-Man. Why? He was a geeky, awkward, nerdy, smart-ass kid. When I saw Spider-Man from Queens, it was real to me. I said, I could relate to that. So 100% Spider-Man. And then add to your question, what did Aunt May tell him? With great power comes. See, hip-hop would be real different now, even if the rappers that do rap about guns and drugs like that, it would be much better, not for the music entertainment business. That's going to do what it's going to do. But their communities would improve if the rapper that raps about guns and drugs forces his label to put his next single in hot rotation with the negative record every 20 minutes on, a radio programming. Like when I meet radio programmers now, I say, oh, no, I'm staying away from it. It's telling you I'm a radio programming listeners. Hip-hop, real hip-hop is this. I'm going to talk about my gun, but my very next single and record and video, who I want to market and plan behind, and we're going to force this down people's throat, is my record about not using the gun. So when I saw Peter Parker it was real to me. And then I'm pretending to be a superhero on a microphone. It really happened. So I tell all the kids, make believe and pretend all the time, because pre means before. And I'm going to do you after him. Thank you.
Hip-hop is established. You could, from what you've done, you could co-star that for the rest of the days. If you decide, you know what, I'm going to pivot, I'm going to change things, and I'm going to do this. Not just do it, but keep it going, and now, you're recognizing that elevated confidence. What made you want to do that?
Oh,
good. From what you were doing? Because you didn't
right.
have to.
Yep.
And now you're here.
That's the best question ever. Because then that's when we all connected. So, I go to a music meeting. My manager brother was shopping an artist. This is like in the early 2000s, 10 years ago. So he calls me up. I never asked you to do anything for me. I need you to get me a meeting at one of these labels that got artists. Because his thing is, if I call, I'm never getting a meeting. But you're DMC. You call up there, you'll get a meeting next month, next week or whatever. Since I love y'all, do it. So I call up Warner Atlantic in New York City. True story. Hey, hello, I'm DMC. I run DMC, Daryl McDaniels. I have an artist I want some. Ooh, DMC, hold on. So I guess the person on the phone is telling the office, DMC from Run DMC. Make sure it's him. Is this Daryl McDaniels? Yes, it's him. Hold on. Okay, what do you want? I have this artist that I'm shopping. I want to know, can I bring it up to him? Because it's different now. That don't happen no more. In my generation, you call a record company, you make an appointment like going to the dentist. You go sit in the lobby, they call you in and out. People that come out smiling got it. People come out sad didn't get it. So they don't even do that no more because they look for likes and they look for social, yeah, and all of that stuff. So I call up there and I guess, yeah, I have this, hold on. I guess the person wants somebody. So somebody in the office said, he can come up right now and meet me. You can come up right now. Whoa, I thought it was going to be come next Tuesday. So I go up there. I go in the office, a guy named Riggs, and Riggs helps me. He's the editor on my comic book, one of the editors on my comic book. So I go in this office, and it's a Puerto Rican kid there sitting. Riggs Morales, who was Eminem's A&R for the rise of the Shady Records empire. So because of his success with Shady Records, he's an executive up at Warner Land. You know, doing the music business. Like he hears his DMC on the phone. Fuck that shit. Cancel all my meetings. I'm taking this meeting. So I go in there, I sit there, and Riggs is doing this to me. And I sit there and I'm like, hi. And then he goes, in that Riggs voice, yo, I'm really very professional. I never fan out. And he says this to me, DMC, you was like my superhero. Run and Jay were cool, but the way you look with your gloves and the gloves. And he said, I don't want to interview, but what was it like when you was a kid? And I was like, oh, I went to Catholic school my whole life, and all I did was read, collect, and draw comic books. And when I said comic books, he said, comic books? I said, comic books. We didn't even sit here and talk about music for 3 hours. We spoke about comic books. So we thought it was just the hip hop. No, we had something. He lived in the Bronx. He moved from house to house every week because the landlords were burning down apartment buildings to get the insurance money. He comes from that, but he always had his comic book with him. I'm living there. I ain't got to move. I'm good. I got an electric teacher if I go to Catholic school, but it's the same thing. So we speak about comic books, and then Riggs goes, and this goes along with what you said. DMC, you should do a comic book. Now, y'all don't know about this. I go, wait, hell fucking no. You're not getting me with that one. Because why? Us geeks and nerds, we are passionate about this shit. I said, I don't want to offend my culture by having, just because he had a few hit records, he think he can come sell comic books. And Rick said, no, that's very honorable. But then you just said it and told me it was comic books before rock and roll and hip hop. Oh, yeah, that's right. And then he was like, here's why you should do the comic book. You can do the very same thing you've been doing with your music for the last 35 years. And I was like, what's that, Riggs? Inspire, motivate, and educate while you're entertaining. So Riggs made me see it was the same thing. But I still wasn't sold because I didn't want y'all mad at me. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's my first love, it's kind of like, I want to keep my secret. I don't want to throw it up. And I don't want you to think I'm doing this for money. So Rick said, okay, I see you. I'm going to take you somewhere in October. So this was like July when I met him. So in October, he calls me, yo, maybe in the city. He takes me to the New York City Comic Con. You got to kind of walk in there. And it was like, when I am in, Tony Stark does it, the suit comes up. I walked in New York Comic Con, Flintstones in my car, every Godzilla, everything came on me like ominous and Riggs out there because it gave me a purpose. It gave me another purpose to, like when I was answering your question, to do what I already got done with my music. I experienced that. Now I can do the same thing with the comic book. But think about it. This was the first thing that got me started. The comic book was the thing that gave me the confidence to say I'm all right to be down. I ain't got to change. When I came into hip hop, I'm not from the Bronx. I don't know broken glass everywhere and this and that. So I remember, be confident about your situation. So when I step to the mic, you ain't going to hear shooting, drug dealing, and gangbang. You're going to hear, I'm DMC, and the place to be. I'll go to St. John's University. And when I did that, Riggs was like, yo, D, you did that. And hip hop didn't think that was possible. But here you are, Robert, about chicken and collard greens at St. John's University. You make a difference. Now you can tell the story. They know I rapped it, but now I can tell the story. So in this comic book, Riggs also, after I gave that to Riggs, he said, one more question. What would you be doing if you didn't do hip hop? I don't know. All I cared about was recollecting and drawing. But I said, if I had to see what I wanted to be, I probably would have been a teacher. And he said, that's it. It's going to be another dimension, a whole nother world, and you're going to be a teacher that has superpowers. You're not going to be rapping, but there'll be hip hop, punk rock, heavy metal, everything that we all are will be in this book. So it's crazy you asked that. It was all because Riggs said, You need to do this comic book. And having you in front of all the geeks and words like this, what the fuck is up? He's gonna shut everybody up. Okay, last question right there.
So, so first off, thank you for all this. This was a wonderful time.
Thank you.
But one thing I want to ask, as a fellow like lover of pop culture, is when it comes to just like the origins and when it comes to your music, your comics and stuff like that, who would you say, just for a fun one, who would you say as the rap and everything, like who are two characters, different characters that you feel really inspire you most in pop culture to do what you do?
Oh, probably like I could relate to Peter, but most likely Captain America is my favorite book to read because it's funny, all my situations creatively match my being adopted and finding out later, stuff like that. Had to be Captain America. Why? In this day and age of hip hop, dude, I feel like I was frozen in ice and I woke up and shit has changed and they're trying to get me to change. What I like about Cap is he sticks to the core valuable of not what he was, but what he is. So me coming into now, you know what I'm saying? I got to tell kids, old school isn't a time period. It was a consciousness. So if I had to say, who is DMC at this age? And I feel like him because I'm 60, but I'm still out here kicking ass, you know what I'm saying? It's like, to these young bucks, I could do this all day. And I tell these kids in the school, I say, don't worry about I tell the kid, don't worry about your 16, 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20, 21, and 5 MC that's bad at you. You got to worry about the 60-year-old man that's been doing it every day. The more you do something, the better you get. And y'all know that. So it's definitely Captain America because I'm not going to change what I am to fit into this industry because everything that I'm doing is old. So what I was going to say is I tell kids, don't call me old, man. You better rephrase it. Call me eternal. Your favorite rapper in the last 5 years is old. And another thing that I say with the kids is, nobody want to hear that. Think about all of these highly successful rappers, but you know you ain't messing with Kane. You know you're going to go see Slick Rick and get a great show. You know you're going to see PE, and PE is just an anomaly because you go to a PE concert, it's all white people shouting, fight the power, and Malcolm and all of that, because the black people think it's not cool. But the white people understand what you're saying. We need to buck up and unify. So for me, it's definitely Captain America. On the end that I had just one kid, I'm speaking, and one kid, the smart comedian guy, he was, yo, Run DMC is cool, but y'all old school motherfuckers is over. Like that. And the kids start laughing, and I go, thank you. And just real quiet. So you're trying to diss. But your words are a powerful thing. What are you saying thank you for? I said, because you just said something that I am. And what do you mean? You're over? I said, yeah. I just came over from Japan last week, asked my manager, I'm getting ready to go over to Singapore. You see the Zena, the kids like, whoa. I said, y'all don't see me on MTV and hear me on the radio, but I probably do 250 shows a year. I'm still doing at 60 everything, comic books, eating cookies and ramen, writing rhymes and rhyming in front of people for the joy of it. I'm still doing at 60 the very thing I was doing when I was your age. So my question to you, what are you going to be doing? Where do you see yourself over at when you give speeches? Captain America.
Yes. Outlets over here, so everyone, phones ready. We gotta go through this real quick.
I will run you over.
Yeah, have the phones ready.
I know you will.